Alright, today we're going to be talking about the proper use of the stretcher. We're going to go over removing the stretcher, placing the stretcher back into the ambulance, how to raise the stretcher up to CT height, and then lower it back down and lock it securely in place. Start off by showing just a picture of the back of the ambulance, where you can see the CT scanner in relation to where the head of the patient goes while on the stretcher. You may notice that there's a height difference here, and that's where we're going to get into raising the stretcher up so it meets the level of the CT scanner. And we'll be able to show you how to operate that. First, we're going to start with releasing the stretcher from its locking mechanism and removing it. You want to push this red button right here. Slowly, a little bit of push to the stretcher so it goes backwards and it'll pop out of place for you to remove it. We'll watch it one more time. Push the red button right here. Push the stretcher back just a little bit. And it'll release and ready for you to remove. Now there are 3 separate ways to remove the stretcher. The first way, we're going to show you right here, is to push and hold the plus button. The best way to remember it that I use is the plus. It adds height to the stretcher. So you pull the stretcher all the way out, push and hold the plus button until the wheels go down, and then lower the stretcher down. You do not want to hit the plus button until these back wheels are completely out of the ambulance. If you do hit the plus button while these wheels are still in, the stretcher will start to raise up while it's still in the ambulance. So we'll watch this again. Pull the stretcher all the way out. Push and hold the plus button until the wheels touch the ground. Let go of the button and set it down. The second way to remove the stretcher is to use this lever. If you push, squeeze and hold the lever, it's an override for the hydraulics, so it'll let them fall with gravity. This way it's easy to use, but you have to remember to let go of the lever once the wheels hit the ground. Otherwise the stretcher will continue to fall since you're overriding the hydraulics. So remove it. Squeeze the lever as you come out. Once the wheels hit the ground, let go of the lever and set the stretcher down. The third way is to squeeze the lever and push the plus button. Now in this scenario, you do not have to worry about the plus button raising the stretcher up inside the ambulance because the lever will override that. So again, squeeze the lever, push and hold the plus button. But because you are squeezing the lever again, once the wheels hit the ground, let go of the lever and then set the stretcher down. And now we'll show you how to put the stretcher back in. So you pick the stretcher up, push and hold the minus button. Just like I say, the plus button adds height, the minus button takes away the height. So lift it up, push and hold the minus button until the legs are all the way up, and then push the stretcher back into the ambulance. Once we get to this point, we're going to move to raising it up to CT height, which is the next step. So once it's in, you raise the stretcher up. The easiest way to get a basic reference point for how high it needs to be is this orange piece of tape right here. You want the edge of this black piece right here to be right at that orange piece. That's just a reference point. You're still going to have to adjust it a little bit here or there, but it will not be very much. So the best method is to just raise it up so it's right there, and then adjust once you get the stretcher next to the CT. Every patient will be a little bit different. We'll show you again. Raise it up. Adjust it so it's right there at the edge. And that's how we do it. Now we'll go into how to put the stretcher into this position for the scan. So you want to push this lever forward, and that prevents these front wheels from turning at all. You're going to push the stretcher in. Right there, you're going to meet a little resistance, which you just got to push a little bit harder, and it'll go all the way back into the locking position. We'll watch it again. Push the lever forward. Push the stretcher back. You'll meet a little resistance. Just give it a good push, and it'll go right back into there. So the next step will be how to lock it in place. So you want to step on each wheel lock. 1 and 2. You don't want the stretcher to move. And then we have a seatbelt strap here where there's a bolt that slides into the floor. And then you push it backwards to lock it in place. And then it plugs in like a regular seatbelt. And you want to pull the slack out of the seatbelt. It doesn't have to be super tight, but you don't want a lot of slack in there. This prevents the stretcher from tipping forwards when we have a patient on there doing the scan. And we'll watch this part one more time. Make sure each wheel is locked. Then you want to insert the strap. You put the bolt in the spot and then slide it forward so it locks. Then connect the seat belt. And then remove the slack. And now it's locked in place. Now we'll show you how to lower the stretcher back down after the scan is done. So this part is where it gets a little difficult. You're going to remove the stretcher all the way back so these front wheels are right on the edge. Lower the stretcher down using the minus button, because the minus button takes height away. And this lever right here is going to touch there. It's going to touch the restraint system. Once it touches that restraint system, you stop lowering it down, and then you get it ready, and you push the minus button a little bit and slide the stretcher forward as you push the minus button. That lever has to come back a certain way, otherwise the stretcher will not properly lock in place. So we'll watch it again. This wheel's at the end. This lever right here is what I'm talking about. Lower it down until it touches the black part, and then lower just a little bit more and push forward. Now once you push forward and the lever comes back the way it's supposed to, stop pushing and lower the stretcher all the way to the rest of the ground and then lock it into place. I'm going to show you from a little bit of a different angle to give you a better perspective of what I'm talking about. So here's the lever again. Wheels all the way back. You're going to start lowering the stretcher slowly until this lever touches the black part right here. And then minus the button and push forward just a little bit so the lever folds backwards. And once you see the lever fold, then you lower the stretcher all the way to the rest of the ground and push it in until it locks. We'll watch it one last time. Here's the lever that we're talking about. Lower the stretcher down till the lever touches the black part. Push it forward while pushing the minus button until it folds, and then lower the rest of the way down and slide it into lock. And that's the entire process on how to remove the stretcher, how to load it into CT height, and how to safely put it back in. So hopefully you've learned a little bit more about this while watching the video, and you can now do it safely.